Welcome to a new episode of Nails from A to Z. This episode is powered by Glossary Live. I'm here with actually my best friend, Lisa Boone, and she has been in the industry for, I don't know, forever.
Yeah,
and
much.
She's done so many amazing things throughout her career. She has been a salon owner. She's been a world champion hand model. She's been a competition judge. I mean, I can't think of anything that you haven't done. She's been a manufacturer, created innovative products. So there's so much stuff that this woman has done in her career in the nail industry. And we just kind of want to dig in and find out exactly how this whole journey started and where did your love and passion for nails come from? Because basically you've spent your entire life in the nail industry.
Yep.
So, where you're from?
Okay, so I'm an only child, born and raised just outside of Chicago, Illinois. And I was that kid in grade school. So I'm going to tell a real quick story. We used to have desks, the old school desks in like third grade, and they had a pencil tray in them.
Right.
Well, while everybody else was paying attention in class, I filled mine with Elmer's glue, let it harden overnight. The next day I cut them out with scissors, and I realized if you re-wet the glue, you can put them on like nails. So
Stop it.
I was literally making nails for people since third or fourth grade.
That's such a great story.
It's a weird story because I've always been pretty obsessed with nails. I remember looking out at my mom's hands, how beautiful they were and how pretty her nails were. And
that passed down, right?
It did actually. Thanks, Mom. And then I, like in sixth grade, then I was polishing my nails to match my outfits, which I should have been doing my homework the night before, but I was matching my shoes, my homework, my outfit. Let's just get real. I'm just one of those people that was more interested in nails and learning things by watching and doing than books. So that's it in a nutshell. It's funny when I run into people from grade school that see my nail art and some of the things I do on social media, and they're like, yeah, it doesn't surprise us. We knew you were obsessed with nails from the time you were in grade school. So it's funny. But I always took care of my nails, and then I went off to college because my parents really wanted me to go. And then as soon as I left, my mom had gotten sick, and being an only child, we were super close. So I came home for her surgery, and nobody said anything, but I knew something wasn't right. So she took ill, and nobody told me that she wasn't going to be around for very long, but I got that feeling. So I finished out the year of my first year of college, and then I came home. I went to Upper Michigan. And I didn't want to go back. I wanted to spend as much time with my mom as I could. So not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, I wandered into this nail salon that was not far from my house. And this was back in the 80s. So it was probably 15 nail girls in a nails only salon in an environment where there was no one like that.
Right.
It was, you got your nails, the nail person was the after thing in the beauty salon. She sat in the corner over there and whatever. This was all nail girls, and I watched these girls sculpt nails, like with acrylic. And I was obsessed. From that moment, I was like, I want to work here. I want to learn how they're doing it. And it was a really different technique, because I don't think not many people have seen it unless you as old as me and have been in the industry. And I still to this day don't know where the woman who ran the salon learned it. I'm guessing she came out to California or something. But you would put down your bead of acrylic, and you'd take a cuticle pusher and you dip it in the monomer, and you'd use it to actually form the nail all the way down. So and it got tight on the sidewalls, and you got a C curve.
Wow.
And an arch. It was beautiful. So It was super hard though. So I quit once because I just got frustrated when I was starting to learn. And I remember her calling me at home, the owner of the salon was like, no, you can do this, and she coached me back in because I was discouraged. They made it look so easy.
Right.
And I
course,
thought it
that's what
was
you do
right.
now.
And I thought, well, I can do this. And then once I started, I was like, oh man, this is not for me. I can't do this. And I felt kind of like a failure. And I was so glad that she called me, talked me back in. I stuck with it. And it was, once I got into it, I loved all of it because I love people. And I loved clients and just talking to people about their lives while I got to create. And I kind of at that point became obsessed with color and polish. I really loved polishing the nail. I loved sculpting the nail. Did not like filing the nail because it was the old school.
Nobody likes filing the nail.
And it was the old school acrylic, so it was super hard.
And
oh man,
very dusty.
Yeah. It took, you wanted to make your application perfect because otherwise you were the larger part of your time was filing off what
you put on
to make it look nice. Yeah.
So, and back then there was no nail art. So you're world famous for nail art now, but in those days, nobody wore nail art.
No, they tried to get me to use striping tape, which is back in fashion, which I had PTSD from, so I didn't want to bring it out. And finally, I'm like, at least you can do this. And it's much easier with gel polish and the technology we have now. But back in the day,
striping tape's better now than it used to be too. The adhesive is better than it used to be.
It's and the way you can apply it. And you know, all you had was enamel polish. So if you messed up a polish, that was it. You know, you had to almost take it off and start over, acetone to try to fix it, and So
you went from working in a salon, and I mean, when we first met almost 30 years ago, you were a world champion hand model. So how did the transition go from I'm a nail technician to a salon, and now I'm traveling the world being a world champion hand model? How did that happen?
Once again, I feel like fate stepped in. Because I really was passionate about the business, after I'd worked at that salon for about, I think, 6 years, I decided to open my own salon. And so I went out on my own. I brought in a girl with me, and we went through 2 salons. We expanded. We were so popular, I went pretty far away, a couple towns over, but everybody followed. And we were in a small space above a hair salon. Went from there after a year. We were so busy that we built a bigger place on Main Street in the little town near me. And so I was doing that and training a lot of girls because I had more room. And so I was like, let's go to the beauty show. I'd never been to one. Because they were kind of, I don't know how long they've been around, but they weren't so popular for, at least for the nail industry. I think they were small.
More like hair industry stuff, and then you could find nail stuff there. But it wasn't, back then there was like not nails only shows. And then they just had started, so.
Yeah, so I think it was like the late 80s. I'm dating myself here. The late 80s, and I dragged a couple of the girls that worked for me to the Chicago Beauty Show. And, you know, we're walking around, we're looking, and I see this huge crowd around this booth, and I'm like, wow, I wonder what they're doing over there. And I see these really hot guys over there standing behind the booth doing nails or whatever they were doing. There was a couple standing. I couldn't see who was at the desk. So I waited till people moved out of the way. I got up close, and there was, I believe it was Tom Holcomb doing a pink and white nail, and it was Danny Hale and David Daniels. And that, I was like, oh my gosh, I had never seen a pink and white nail sculpted before. I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, it was a one color deal.
The funny thing about this story is, like, we know them very well, but for those of you out there that don't know who these 3 guys are, or you're sitting there going, oh, those are the owners of Gelish and Nail Alliance and all that stuff. But yes, they actually all did nails at one time. So David was doing nails and Danny was doing nails. Back there doing nails together.
And certainly now with just the industry's grown so much that quite a few men do nails now, but that was not the case. Like, so, I was like, wow. And then to see them sculpt this pink and white, which was just like a unicorn to me. I waited in this line.
Because everything was one color.
Yeah, it was just clear acrylic. You filed it, you polished it.
It was kind of natural. It wasn't really as clear as it is now either. It was
Right,
a little milky.
it was.
Yeah.
What was unique about, I feel like I was at the right place at the right time many times, but what was unique about the salon I was in is I remember all the other salons, and there was a chain back in the day, and all they did was glue tips on and then slap acrylic over them, and they were constantly peeling off. So the way I learned sculpture really drew me in because they lasted forever. If I didn't have that experience, I probably wouldn't be sitting here if I had just learned it. So I waited in this long line, and by the time I got up there, Danny Hale was sitting in the chair and he put a nail on me. Well, I give him my hand and he's like, holy cow, what's with the nail beds? And I'm like, I don't know. I always thought my nail beds were freakishly long, and I actually almost tried I almost tried to hide them. I would always polish them and keep them really short so they look normal because they're super long.
Yes.
So he puts this nail on me, and now everybody's looking because it became impressive when she got it onto his work and then my nail bed. And Tom Holcomb's like, oh my God, let me see that girl. And so they start talking, and the next day, everyone's taking pictures. And I'm like, wow. I mean, I was like, wow, I thought I won the lottery, which I did, to be honest. And I remember Danny saying, hey, do you want to come tomorrow and do a competition here at the Chicago Beauty Show with me? And you'll get in the show free. I don't know, he probably promised me a whole bunch of stuff, but it was a whole day experience that I didn't know it was going to take. But I was like, sure, yeah, I'll be back, Because my salon was closed Sunday, Monday, and I think the competition was on Sunday or Monday. So I came back and we did the competition, and I remember him almost running out of time because my nail beds are so long. Yeah. I don't think many people who've used me.
Same problem. I've had it.
You need twice as much liquid and twice as much powder
and twice as many files and twice as much time.
Yeah. So he didn't win first place that day, but he knew he could after doing my nails. I think maybe we took second that day. But the whole process of it just blew my mind that now there's competitions. Like, what is this? Like, I had no clue, that there was this whole different side of the industry. And
I think people are still going through that now. I mean, it's, competitions are such a big thing. They're huge in our world, in our eyes, but I think there's so many people out there that don't realize that competitions kind of can change your life in that way. They inspire you. You get excited. It gives you like this whole new outlook on what the nail industry can be. So
absolutely.
So you started modeling for Danny.
So for, I think, over a year, and I had a baby at that time, and like all this stuff was going on. But I managed to travel then. He was like, well, let's go to Atlanta. Let's go here. So I probably did 3 or 4, maybe even 5 competitions with him in that following year and a half. And he won with them. He either took first or second with all of them. And I remember we were at the Atlanta, and Tom Holcomb was there, and he was like, yep, you're done. You're only modeling for me now. He told Danny, she's mine. You're not taking first all the time. I'm going to kill it with this one. And that's how that happened. And what was so crazy about it is I was so nervous all the time, so intimidated by these incredible artists that could sculpt these nails, that I didn't say much. I was real quiet, which you know me now. If you know me, I'm not normally quiet. But just watching them, seeing them, and from then on, but the crazy thing is that instantly working with Tom, we had this crazy connection. It's on a spiritual level. I start tearing up, and he, not only did I get to travel the world with him, but we had some of the best experience. I mean, we love being together, when you're with friends that it's almost like soulmates. And I don't have siblings. And literally I felt like he was my brother. We could finish each other's sentences for one another in our thoughts. And every minute that we traveled together was just the best time I've ever had in my life. And we made so many friends and so many memories. And I can't even tell you how blessed that I feel to have met you Danny, David, all these amazing people. And the one thing I can say to nail techs out there is don't say no. So the girl I had the salon with who partnered with me, she didn't want anything to do with shows. She wouldn't go with me. And I thought, boy, you really missed out, because look at my world. It just blew up after that. I mean, now I'm with some of the top nail techs in the world. So I'm not only, and I'm watching every single time. And you know, as a nail tech, you learn better from watching than just anything. And so seeing what they did just raised my level without even having Tom work with me. Like just watching Tom, Danny, you do my nails was the most amazing. And every single time I would do a competition with one of you, it just blew my mind. It was so joyful for me to just watch you guys work. And I can't tell you enough, whatever your dreams are, just go for them. Don't let your fears stop you. Don't let life stop you, because you never know who's going to come across your path. You're never going to know. You might miss out on amazing blessings. And if that's one thing I've tried to teach my children, is put yourself out there. As scary as it is, whatever it is you want to do, or whatever it is you're interested in, you never know who you're going to meet or what doors are going to open for you.
So what a great message, because it does, change your life when you say yes and when you put yourself in those positions and opportunities. And I'm going to try to pull myself together.
I know, right?
So you started modeling for Tom, and really, when we say we've traveled all over the world doing this, we have traveled all over the world doing this. And I know your story is very similar to mine in that,
well, people don't really believe me. Like, people go, oh, what do you do? And you go, well, I'm an educator for a major beauty brand or whatever. And they go, well, what do you teach? Nails. They go, really? Like, and they go, well, where do you do it? And I go, well, I've been to Japan how many times? I've been to China. I've been to Russia. I've been to Dubai. I've been all over India. I mean,
I sent her there first because I didn't want to stay there. I was like, 14 days in India. Hey, Lise, you want to go?
I know, and I loved it, just so you know. I mean, I also love to travel, and I didn't know that if I let my fears get in the way, because I had to go to China by myself. And I was young, or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen when I get there. I don't speak the language, but you can't let those things stand in your way. You know what? Where there is a will, there is a way. It's just like when I first learned to sculpt nails, I had to go, I'm just going to do it. And I kept doing it, even though my nails came out terrible, until they came out better. I just kept doing it, because that passion was inside me. And I knew once I got broke through a certain part, it looked like fun. And it was, once you get to that point. Right. But it's not easy. People always look at things and go, well, that's easy for you. Well, they don't realize how much time and energy and effort. And yes, so we can build the test. Tom Holcomb, things probably did come a little easy from him. He was amazing, talented artist. That in my life,
gifted.
Yeah, God gifted. In my lifetime, I'll never see another one. But for me, everything that I'm good at, I've done a lot and practiced a lot and worked really hard to get there.
Thousands of hours and practice. Yeah. And that's really, I think, the story of 99% of nail technicians is you work your butt off to get to where you're at. And it's not often that somebody just comes out of the womb, just throws down nails like Tom did.
Like Tom, and then walks away with the first place trophy. Because I can honestly tell you, I've never counted, but I've only taken first place with him, and look how many competitions.
I took a second, and with him. Our very first competition, he took second, and we only took first from then out.
Time,
and I mean, it happens, 30, but 40, it's weird. 50 times.
Right.
So, I mean, we used to go to shows, him and I would model for him, and then I'd flip on the other side and do nails and get another model, and he'd have another model, and then the next, and we would do 8 or 10 competitions in a weekend if we could, and he would do my hair, and then I'd sit down and model for nails, and, and that went on too. You were a hair model for him.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, right after that, and then the next year, the Chicago show, he's like, well, if we're doing the nail competition, let's do the hair competition. So this was the craziest thing. We won first place at ABS Chicago, and then that qualifies you for New York.
Yes.
With hair.
And we were both there for that one.
Yes.
And I modeled makeup.
Right.
Yes.
But what
Makeup
was so
and you modeled hair
intimidating
nails.
about that is every single hair person there had a paid model who was like this big and jawline and beautiful and had walked the runway or whatever. They were actual models.
Yes. And they were all sponsored by hair brands.
And Tom's like, oh no, you'll be fine. And I'm like, sweat is pouring off me. I'm just like, but we took.
And he had us in those little outfits that, oh my gosh.
I have to find pictures because it's amazing. And he made the outfits.
I have pictures, don't even
He
worry.
made the outfits. But what's so
he
funny?
He would call me and be like, okay, we're doing this competition. Sew a skirt, and I'm bringing the top. And I'm like, okay.
Which was 6 stones one time,
right.
I remember that. We chained these stones together.
And he opened like this Tupperware bowl, and he goes, here's your top, and he pulls this string with like 7 stones attached. And I was like, that's a what? That's a top.
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun.
Yeah.
And I remember that competition, I was so you have no idea, like I was shy as a child, and then I started coming out of my shell, but once I met Tom, it was like everything was okay.
It was.
And I just pressed, I was not gonna say no to him, even though inside I'm like, there's no way I can do this. So I'm like,
he asked me to wax off my eyebrows one time so that he could put them, and I said no. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, you haven't heard that often, but that's a no. That's a hard no.
But when we went to New York, I can't remember the hairline that had all these top people they had sponsored to come in, and we took second place. They were so angry. I can't even tell you that this guy came out of nowhere with this older woman. I mean, I was, in my 20s, but I was older than the 19-year-old models, and took second place.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how crazy.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
He was gifted at everything.
I
know, everything he touched. I mean, from cooking to, flower arrangements. I mean, you handed anything to him, and it was amazing. So let's go back through because at this time, now I'm in the picture, and I remember, us traveling all over, and you were modeling all the time.
Yeah.
But soon thereafter, as life kind of progressed, you said, let's start a nail company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of changed our world, because at that time, Tom and I were traveling back and forth to Japan all the time. We were teaching classes all the time. And we were just like, he was exhausted. Like, it was a nonstop.
Right.
I mean, we'd probably been to Japan 80 times in 5 years, like, not kidding, like that many times. And, you were like, I'm tired of you guys being gone. I'm tired of you guys working so hard. I think we should have our own company. And I don't think very many people know this story. And I think it's an important, it's an important story to tell, because it's a very, not just an important part of your life, but it is a historic part of our industry, right? Of how, Entity Beauty got started. Basically, the three of us were together, and you're like, I have the money to start a company. And we should work together, and, we're a family. Like, by this time, the three of us are like inseparable.
Yeah,
like, we're just, so I'm the little sister, she's the older sister, Tom's in the middle, they're fighting, we're fighting, and we're going around him, like, so we're like, okay, we're going to start this company, we're going to do our own nail thing, it's going to be all about artists, and we start, developing
products,
Entity Beauty and the products and everything behind that. So that gets started, and I think we started that like in 2004. We started developing that product. We started, Tom was working on formulations and everything. We started talking to Tom Baychek, and by 2005 we launched in London.
Yes.
Right? That was our first thing. And I mean, we changed I mean, I don't want to brag, but we changed the industry when we started Entity. We stepped up the level with marketing, we stepped up the level with product, packaging, the Industry Abbey Award we won with the first time a nail company has
ever won that.
The packaging award. So, for the beauty industry. So it was a huge time, in the industry and historically, and a really big time in our lives of kind of being together. And although things didn't really work out like we had expected or hoped, but it was, that was how.
It was super exciting to be able to birth something with, the top people in the industry, really the top artists. And it was a wonderful experience. We got to spend a lot of time together, have fun instead of just competing, but also building the brand and building
photo
products
shoots and traveling and we kind of started doing it all again, but just with a different brand. And then eventually, I had a baby and
I had a little one.
You had a little one.
Right. So
which isn't so little anymore.
I know. I can't believe how old I am or my kids are. My kids' age makes me feel old.
Right. I'm feeling the same way. So you took that break for just a little while, spent some time with your kids, but you're saying you never. I mean, what brought you back into the nail industry?
You did. Because Alicia was like, hey, what are you doing? Because she knew I wasn't really doing a lot. And so then you asked me to, help you with some projects and do some education. And, what had shifted in those few years that I had been off was gel polish. So that technology was new. And I had started playing around with it because I think I got some products from Danny and the LED lamps, but it was at the very beginning. So
I'm going to tell you guys, when I first had her doing gel polish, she goes, I hate it. I hate gel polish. This is the stupidest stuff. It never dries. I hate it. I was like, figure it out because I need your help.
Right. But over a short period of time, the lamps developed to get better, which they still are. Everything, lamps you have to remember, polish has been made for how many years? You write the books.
Right.
A long time. So nail enamel or regular lacquer polish that formula is pretty tried and true, but this is a whole new animal. So it's constantly improving.
And not only that, but when I said, okay, number one, I want you to be an educator, and you're like, I've never taught a day in my life. Number two, I want you to use gel polish, which you were like, I've never used this crap. I don't know what it is. And number three, I want you to do art with it, and you're like,
I don't do art.
I don't do art.
I don't do art.
So we threw her out of her realm, and all of a sudden you become a world famous artist on nails using gel polish.
Yeah, I don't. It's crazy. That's another thing you couldn't predict. I have always loved to, color and draw, and I love color a lot. But I never really thought of myself as an artist until I started working with gel polish. And once I got into gel polish, I realized, well, there's some cool properties about this. It doesn't dry until you put it in the lamp. So what do I have to lose? Let's try to do something with it. And then I started learning once I became an educator, working with you. Some of the amazing people in the industry right off the bat, Alicia's like, you're going to China. I'm like, and that's fine. But I show up in China and they're like, okay, you're going to do a stage presentation in nail art tomorrow. And I'm like, what? So thank goodness.
That's how things happen. Say yes.
Yeah, you just have to roll with it. Even though I don't feel like I'm a good person that rolls with things, it's made me be that person, which life makes you be, because the unexpected always happens. And I think I was with Sandy Borges, and I was rooming with her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what can I do by tomorrow? And we went through some nail art stuff, and we were in the room, and she taught me a couple things, and I pulled it off. I was like, but without her, I don't know. I mean, I was scared. I was like, and here's the other thing about some of the other countries. they're more advanced in their art than we are. And even in Japan, you know, back in the day, they're 3D flowers. I mean, I know you guys brought that over, but they're really,
they took that and ran with it. Yes,
level.
they were like 3D flowers. We're on it.
Right. So, I mean, and I had been thrown to the wolves in Japan several times where they're like, oh, I'd go with Tom to be a model. And next thing you know, he's like, well, here, you're doing demos all day here and you're doing this here. And I was like, you know, as long as he didn't make me do any stage stuff, I'd been doing nails long enough I could punt, and I've been watching you guys long enough, and you guys worked with you, you know, at night, staying up. Tom would train people up till all hours in the night before competitions. Yeah. So, I mean, it just happened. So that's kind of how that happened. And then I really started to get inspired by all the use of all the nail colors and the gel polish. And I fell in love with it, something I didn't like, just like acrylic at the beginning. Fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So
and you're so good at not only are you good at actually doing the art, but you're so great at teaching the art because you share everything you know, and that's I mean, I absolutely love watching you teach. You know, Lisa just did a master class for us in the art of theory on color and explaining color combinations. And the entire time, you know, I'm just learning still, you know, every day. And that's what's, you know, so great about taking classes with Lisa and being around her is that she's just like really open to sharing, really open to educating and teaching, you know, everything that you know, and it just makes color and learning art feel easy.
Yeah, and you know what, the one thing I've loved about this industry from the very beginning, especially about teaching people, is that I was that person once. I didn't think I could do it, and I had enough people tell me I could. So and encourage me and support me. And, you know, without those people being in my life, you being one, you know, a lot of different people along the way have lent a hand to me and just encouragement. And that's what I want to give to people because I had that passion and I see that passion in the classroom. Not everybody's as crazy about nails as I was, but there's always one or two along your path that's like, you know, wants to do it and doesn't think they can, or you think that the only thing you can do is sit in a salon all day and do nails. And the industry is huge.
Yeah,
there's so many places for people to find their passion and what they're good at or what they love to do.
So if people want to find their passion and they want to learn from you and they want to take your class, how can they find you? Where are you at?
Oh, I'm at glossarylive.com.
You are at glossarylive.com. You're here right now. But if they wanted to follow you, if they wanted to look for you, where are you at? Are you on it?
I'm mostly on Instagram, so it's LA Boone Does Nails. So LA Lisa Audrey Boone Does Nails. And I'm also on Facebook, so I'll post to Facebook also. I just started a TikTok account, but I'm just getting started with it. I'm a dinosaur in this industry. It's like this whole social media thing's a mystery to me. But I absolutely fell in love, like a lot of people, with Instagram because it's no BS. You just see the beautiful pictures or the little shorts that people do, and they
and your nail art is absolutely beautiful.
Oh,
so if you want to see Lisa's nail art, you can go to her social media. You can also go to hashtag Glossary Live Nails because she's always putting her stuff up there. You can also, when you teach classes, you let me know and we put them on our events page at glossarylive.com too. So you can always go to the events page and see if Lisa's doing a class or try to follow her on her social media so you can actually get some time with this beautiful, lovely lady that I love so much. She is an amazing artist, an amazing teacher, and my absolute best friend.
I love you.
So I'm so glad she was coming. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Peel Back the Polish, and we'll get to see you next time. For more nail stuff, don't forget to visit glossarylive.com to find inspiration, trends, step-by-steps, and news. It's all about nails.